3 years. That's how long I waited to ring the bell that would end someone's career. Not a legal complaint filed through proper channels. Not a whistleblower report buried in paperwork for 6 months. A curated financial exposure, dropped publicly at the exact moment it would do maximum damage. The morning his company was supposed to go public. Here's the question you'll need to answer by the end. What single line in a year one contract made the entire takedown possible? This is how I became a ghost in the machine, and how I made sure everyone saw him fall. Pause. My father built a logistics company from nothing, spent 20 years turning handshake deals into contracts, contracts into routes into revenue. Then his business partner, the man he trusted most, restructured everything out from under him. Legal, clean, brutal. My father lost his company, his reputation, and 3 years later, his will to fight back. The partner. He rebranded, went national, and started building toward an IPO. I didn't want revenge in court. I wanted it in front of cameras. So I applied for a job. Entry-level, warehouse logistics coordinator, unremarkable title, invisible role, no fake name, no fabricated resume, just my real credentials, a bland cover letter, and a first-day photo ID that wouldn't raise a single flag. Year one began the day I walked through his door. Pause. Year one was about becoming furniture. The employee nobody questions because you've never given them a reason to. I showed up 15 minutes early. I stayed late when shipments ran behind. I never complained, never pushed back, never made myself memorable for the wrong reasons. I processed manifests. I logged weights, container codes, and destination routing. I signed off on discrepancy reports when numbers didn't match. And I noticed when those discrepancies always trended the same direction. Here's what I found in month 4. A single contract clause buried in the standard shipping agreement. Clause 8, 3.2. Overweight shipments incur a 12% logistics surcharge, calculated post-transit and billed separately. Innocuous, standard industry language. Except when you cross-reference 3 months of manifests, you see a pattern. Shipments logged as standard weight at pickup, then recategorized as overweight after delivery. Every single time. The client gets billed the surcharge. The manifest shows the original weight. The difference? Pocketed. I didn't act. I documented. I saved copies to a personal encrypted drive every Friday at 4:47 p.m., right before weekend file purges. By the end of year one, I had 48 flagged discrepancies, and I got promoted to logistics analyst. Pause. Year 2 was about access. As a logistics analyst, I reviewed routes, approved vendor payments, and reconciled monthly budgets. I had read access to financial summaries, I had write access to shipment logs, and I had something better, trust. The kind of trust you earn by never asking the wrong questions. I started noticing tax filings that didn't match internal revenue reports. Not by much, just enough to stay under audit thresholds. A 2.3% variance here, a rounding adjustment there. Over 12 months, those variances added up to $1.4 million in unreported income. I didn't raise it in meetings. I didn't ask accounting to explain. I just kept copies. Shipping manifests, tax discrepancies, vendor kickback agreements that listed his brother-in-law's shell company as a consulting partner. By the end of year 2, I had 3 years of financial evidence. Enough to end a career, enough to kill an IPO, but I didn't have proximity yet. Year 3 would fix that. Pause. Year 3 was the riskiest year, because year 3 meant working close enough to be noticed. The company started IPO prep. That meant financial audits, compliance reviews, and a small team of senior analysts brought in to clean up the books. I volunteered. I made myself useful. I stayed late reviewing disclosures, flagging inconsistencies for legal, and offering to handle the tedious reconciliation work nobody else wanted. And that's how I ended up in the same room as him. 3 years, hundreds of hours of invisible work. And now I was sitting across a conference table, helping him prepare the financial documents that would determine whether his company went public. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? I was just another analyst. But there was a moment, late one night, just the two of us in the office, where he asked me a question. You ever think about what happens to the people who get left behind when companies like this take off? I looked him in the eye and said, every day. He nodded. Thought I was talking about myself. I was talking about my father. That's when I knew the timing was perfect. Pause, IPO day. The single day his entire career had been building toward. Every investor, every journalist, every camera pointed directly at him. I wasn't in the building, I was across the street in a coffee shop watching the live stream on my laptop. At 9:28 a.m., 2 minutes before the opening bell, I hit publish. 3 years of shipping manifest anomalies, tax discrepancies, vendor agreements, Clause 8, 3.2 and every fraudulent surcharge tied to it. Uploaded to a financial watchdog blog with journalist contacts, securities regulators, and a pre-scheduled Twitter thread that auto-posted with timestamps, document links, and a single line. The bell doesn't ring for fraud. I watched the live stream. I watched him check his phone at 9:29. I watched his face change. The bell rang at 9:30. He wasn't smiling. By 9:45, the first news outlets were running the story. By 10 o'clock, trading was halted pending investigation. By noon, the IPO was dead. Clause 8, 3.2, the single line I'd flagged in year 1, became the centerpiece of the SEC complaint. The thing that unraveled everything. 3 years of being invisible. One irreversible morning. And everyone watching got to see his face the moment he realized the ghost in the machine had been there the entire time. Pause. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. It's patient. It's 3 years of showing up early, staying late, and becoming the one person nobody suspects. It's knowing exactly when to let the truth do the loudest talking. The question from the beginning, what single line made the takedown possible? Clause 8, 3.2. The shipping surcharge buried in every contract. The fraud hiding in plain sight. If you caught it, drop a comment. If you didn't, go back and watch again. Even the score, one story at a time.
They thought they'd won the game.